The cabin went up faster than a man could pray. Dry pine, winter draft, and one spark was all it took.
Mary, take the children. Go now, through the back window.
They burst into the frozen dark, the children barefoot, Mary clutching little Caleb. The only life left was escape. They trudged through knee-deep snow with nothing but the clothes on their backs. The fire glow shrinking behind them like a dying sun.
Papa, my feet hurt. I can't feel them anymore.
Then Joseph saw it, a colossal hollow trunk rising from the snow, its dark mouth wide enough to swallow a wagon.
Look at that trunk. It could shelter us for the night.
A tree. Joseph, we need walls, a roof. The children will freeze in there.
He stepped into the hollow. The curved wood smelled of ancient sap and dry rot, but the floor was bare of snow, and the wind outside fell silent.
We're moving in. It's this or the snow. I can seal the gaps with moss and clay. It will hold.
Joseph didn't wait for morning. He tore moss from the bark and packed it into every crack the wind whistled through.
The children and I dug clay from the stream bank. It's frozen stiff, but it will paste us up tight.
By nightfall, he'd stacked a ring of stones near the center and lit a small fire that seemed to breathe warmth back into the hollow. He fitted the door from planks salvaged from the burned cabin, carving it until it swung snug into the tree's mouth. A pair of trappers passed on the trail and stopped. One of them, Thomas, pointed and laughed.
You've built your nest, squirrel. Hope the tree don't fall over in the first hard wind.
Let them laugh. They've never slept where the frost can't find them.
At least we won't be inside when the next roof caves.
The mockery grew as more settlers heard. Children threw acorns at Anna, calling her chipmunk, but the family kept working. But the laughter followed them through every knothole. And that was just the beginning of what the winter would ask of them. The first snow fell, piling soft against the door, but inside the hollow held.
I can't believe it. One log and it's already warm enough to take off our coats. It's like being inside a giant egg, Papa. No wind gets in.
Joseph counted the woodpile. A quarter. What a cabin burned. And the tree saved the heat.
This wood will last twice as long as I figured. Maybe more.
Outside, Thomas hacked frozen wood, his cabin leaking warmth into the dark.
Blasted winds found every crack. Feels colder inside than out here.
Inside, the children played near the fire, but Mary's eyes searched the knothholes.
What if this tree crumbles in a blizzard? We're riding a hollow giant.
The tree had passed the first test, but the sky promised far colder nights ahead. The blizzard announced itself with a sudden darkening of the sky and a low moan that rose from the ridge like a living thing.
It's coming faster than I feared. We'll be buried by nightfall.
Before the sun vanished, Thomas appeared at the door, his face raw with fear, not mockery.
Reeves, my cabin's shaking apart. Let us in. I can't save my wife and boy alone.
I can't, Thomas. This space is too small. More bodies will steal the heat and kill us all.
You'd let us freeze? After all your talk of shelter?
Joseph, we can't turn him away. That's not who we are.
What if we let them in and the fire dies? We'll all freeze together. Is that mercy?
Then we'll have to live with it. But I won't forget this, Joseph.
Outside, the world disappeared into a white fury. Inside, the silence between them was colder than the storm. A deep, splintering crash cut through the wind, not wood flexing, but a roof caving. Then another, farther off.
Hey, Papa. What was that? It sounded like our cabin when it fell.
That's the settlement, Anna. Their cabins are breaking like mine did.
We were them not 2 weeks ago, Joseph. Remember the cold. Remember the children's feet frozen blue.
If I open that door, we risk our own children. Every breath steals heat. You know that.
And if we don't, what do we tell them in the morning? That we listened to our neighbors die and did nothing.
Joseph closed his eyes. The fire cracked, and the wind screamed his answer.
God, help us. If anyone else comes knocking, we'll open. But the fire must stay alive. That's the rule.
They waited, listening to the world break apart outside. Each minute stretched until the silence felt like a held breath, but the door stayed shut. And somewhere beyond the snow, the storm swallowed every other sound.
Reeves, my boy can't walk. Please, open the door. For the love of God.
Joseph met Mary's eyes. She nodded once, her jaw tight. He shoved the door open against the drift.
Get inside, quickly. Keep close to the fire. Don't touch the walls, they're wet with sap.
The hollow swallowed them. A woman, a boy no older than Caleb, and Thomas, his beard frozen solid and his eyes hollow with shame.
It's all right, little one. You are safe now. We know what the cold can do.
Mary pulled the shivering boy close, wrapping her own shawl around his shoulders as if he were her own.
It's warm. How? This tree's just wood and moss. My cabin was half ice from the inside.
The tree breathes differently. It holds the heat close, like a hand cupped around a candle. Sealed tight, a small fire does the work of a large one.
I called you a squirrel. I was the fool. You saved us, Joseph.
The tree held them all. But for how long? Outside, the storm still hadn't spent its fury, and the woodpile was shrinking faster than Joseph ever planned. Word of the warm tree spread through the blizzard. More desperate settlers stumbled through the drifts, their cabins crushed.
Stay close to the fire. Keep the children warm. We've no room, but we have warmth.
The tree groaned with the weight of bodies. Every breath added moisture. Every coat stole inches from the fire.
It's true. The tree holds the heat like a furnace. Joseph knew what no one else did.
See? This small fire keeps us all alive. A single log lasts hours. You waste fuel if you don't seal tight.
Joseph, the woodpile is weeping. We can't keep everyone warm for long.
Joseph scanned the faces, the frost-bitten fingers, the children's hollow eyes. He knew the arithmetic of survival was turning against them.
We ration by the hour. Half log every 4 hours. No one moves unless necessary. That's our only chance.
In the dim glow, even the men who once laughed at the squirrel family nodded with grudging respect. The tree was their ark, but every ark can founder. And outside the snow kept falling, burying hope under layer after layer. The air grew thick with the smell of unwashed wool and breath. A stale closeness pressed against their lungs like a blanket.
It's hard to breathe. Joseph, the smoke is sinking and the air feels heavy as mud.
We need fresh air. I'll open a knothole high up, just enough to let the stale out without killing the heat.
He worked a loosened knot free. A thin whistle of cold stabbed inward, then something unexpected, a gentle, steady draft, pushed the smoke up and out.
Look at the walls. There's water seeping. It's not from the snow melt. It's coming from inside the bark.
It's like the tree is weeping or sweating. Joseph, you said it breathes differently.
It's alive. I think the hollow isn't dead wood. It's part of a living tree, pulling moisture and air through itself.
The draft moved in a slow circle, like the tree was inhaling and exhaling around them, a silent guardian they had mistaken for a dead shell. The air cleared, but a deeper mystery settled in. They were not just inside a tree. They were inside something ancient and aware. The storm still howled outside, but now the tree felt less like a shelter and more like a heartbeat. And no one dared ask what it wanted in return. The firewood was nearly gone. Every eye counted the sticks, and every heart knew that when the last one burned, the real terror began.
Blast it, Joseph. My wife can't stop shivering. We need more heat. Just one more log.
One more log now means no logs for the children tomorrow. I will not trade a minute of comfort for a night of death.
A burly settler pushed through, his face twisted with fear-maddened rage. He grabbed at the last log.
Stop! This is what the storm wants, to turn us against each other. If you fight, you are already dead.
I built this shelter with my own hands. I know what it can bear. Violence will fill it with cold, faster than any blizzard.
I was the loudest mocker. Now I stand with him. Trust the ration, or you'll be carving names on frozen bodies.
The settler's grip loosened, the log stayed. In the cramped, amber-lit hollow, the rule of one man became law. Above them, in the darkness, the tree's inner skin glowed, a faint green, a reminder that this shelter had its own quiet pulse. The fire burned low, but the peace held, sealed by Joseph's authority. Outside, the wind still screamed its hungering rage. The door vanished. Not with a crash, but a slow, smothering hush as the drift sealed them in.
It's blocked. We're buried alive.
A child screamed, and suddenly the hollow was a tomb. In the dark, only the faint green glow of the bark and the red embers of the fire kept madness at bay.
Hush, Anna. The door was never our shield. The tree is.
The drift is our friend. It seals the cracks and feeds us the last bit of warmth from the earth.
They were trapped, yes, but the tree held them in a pocket of still, warm air while the blizzard outside scraped the world clean.
But how long before the air goes foul? Like before?
The tree breathes. We proved that. Trust it longer than you trust the storm.
And in that fragile womb of ancient wood, the only sound was the slow, shared breathing of people who dared to hope. Hours passed. The green glow didn't fade. It pulsed, faint but steady like a slow heartbeat in the wood.
That light, it's not reflection. It's coming from inside the tree itself. It's warm to the touch.
And the air, it's still fresh. No bite of smoke, no stale breath. It's like the tree is breathing for us.
Joseph pressed his palm against the inner bark. It was not cold, not dead. A subtle warmth radiated from within.
This tree is alive. Not just surviving, it's keeping us alive. The glow, the air, the warmth, it's all connected.
Fear loosened its grip. In its place grew a quiet awe. They were not buried in a coffin, but cradled in something ancient and benevolent. Even the sap that seeped from the walls seemed purposeful, not decay but lifeblood, sealing fractures with a slow amber ichor.
We mocked the idea of living in a tree, but the tree chose to shelter us. It's more grace than we ever showed.
Then we honor it. We survive this storm, and we protect this tree for as long as it stands. That's our debt.
And in that moment, the hollow tree ceased to be a shelter. It became a covenant, and the storm outside faltered for the first time. Joseph, still with his palm against the glowing bark, began to speak of lessons learned long before the fire took their cabin.
Years ago, I learned that cold doesn't kill. Moving air kills. A shelter must be a still pocket, sealed against every draft. This tree's shape cradles the air. The moss and clay sealed its wounds. The drift buried the door and finished the work.
So it's not magic. It's craft and living wood working together. And we mocked you for it.
You knew all along. That's why you packed every crack, tested every draft. We thought it was just care.
He saw the change in their eyes, fear turning to trust, mockery to reverence. The outcast had become their compass.
I won't call a man a squirrel again. Your knowledge saved us all. The settlement should know this.
If we all live by these lessons, we rebuild stronger. This tree taught us that survival depends on sealing the gaps.
His word became law. In the amber-lit hollow, every pair of eyes looked to Joseph for the next breath of hope. But as his authority took root, the storm's voice above grew faint, and with it, the first hint of escape. A thin crack of light, no wider than a blade, appeared at the top of the buried door. The thaw had begun.
The drift is melting from the inside. Everyone with hands, clear the doorway. We dig our way out.
Frozen fingers clawed at compacted snow, blood staining the drift as they tore at the barrier with bare hands.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
The door exploded outward, and a blade of sunlight cut into the darkness, pure and blinding as a second dawn.
The sky, Papa. I see the sky.
They tumbled into a world remade, every surface sheeted in white, the air so cold it burned, but the tree stood behind them, unbowed.
My God, Joseph, it's still standing. Every cabin I know has collapsed, but this tree, it's like iron.
We're alive. Every one of us. The tree kept its promise.
The storm had spent its fury, but the true test lay in the silence beyond the tree. What remained of the settlement was still unknown. The settlement was a graveyard of timbers. Not one cabin stood. Mounds of snow marked buried homes.
We were mocked for this tree. Now it's the only roof left standing in the whole valley.
Reeves, Joseph, I was wrong about everything. Can you forgive a fool who laughed at your wisdom?
I forgave you the moment you knocked. The tree taught us that survival doesn't hold grudges.
This man's knowledge kept us alive. The settlement owes him a debt we may never repay.
There's no debt. We'll open the tree to any who need it, until we rebuild, together.
The hollow tree became the settlement's heart, a symbol of second chances.
We can teach them about sealing drafts and moving air. Let them never freeze again.
Then it's decided. The tree serves as our winter refuge, and we build new cabins with Joseph's wisdom.
But the deeper mystery of the tree's living core remained a secret, known only to those who slept within. With the thaw came a miracle no one expected. The hollow tree, thought dead, began to bud.
Joseph, look. Green shoots on the branches. The tree is alive, just as you said.
I felt its pulse in the blizzard, but to see it now, it's like a promise kept.
I called this tree a rotting nest. Now it's the only living thing for miles, wearing spring like a crown.
The settlement gathered, their breath misting in the cold morning air, watching the impossible unfold.
This tree sheltered us when nothing else could. Now, it's showing us that even after the harshest winter, life finds a way.
Children pointed at the tiny leaves, and for the first time since the fire, hope took root in the valley.
You trusted it when no one else did. This is your vindication, Joseph. The tree is singing your name.
I've seen many springs, but never one so precious. This tree will stand as a testament to your wisdom.
The hollow tree was no mere shelter. It was a living heartbeat of the wilderness, and its story was only beginning. Elder Wilson approached the tree with a magnifying glass, tracing the bark with the care of a man reading a sacred text.
This is no rot. The core was scorched, a fire, centuries ago, but the cambium survived. Its strength comes from that old scar.
So, it was hollowed by the very thing that took our cabin. Fire, then, it gave us a home. Now, it gives us life.
You see the draft and the sap? It's still circulating water and nutrients. This giant is as alive as you or me.
Joseph listened, but his eyes traveled upward to the new leaves, a quiet understanding settling over him.
I never needed a man of science to tell me it was alive. I felt it breathing when we were buried. But now the world will believe.
I'll send word to the capital. This tree will be recorded as a natural marvel. Your name will be attached to it. Joseph.
The elder placed his palm flat on the bark, and the tree seemed to hum under his touch.
Its name should be simple. The Sentinel. It watched over us when nothing else could.
And so, the living tree became immortal. Not just in the forest, but on the tongues and papers of the coming world. After the marvel of spring, Joseph and Mary sat with charcoal and bark paper, sketching a future beside the tree they now called the Sentinel.
We'll build close enough that we can see it from our window. It breathed for us. I won't let it be forgotten.
By sunrise the next day, the settlement gathered before the Sentinel, their breath still visible in the cool spring air.
We're keeping the hearth inside the tree ready. Every winter, anyone who needs warmth will find it. That's our thanks.
Joseph stood apart, watching the crowd. The same faces that once sneered now looked at him like a compass needle.
I heard you are building. My hands are yours. After what you did, every man here will volunteer.
We'll cut only fallen timber. The Sentinel taught me that living things are the strongest walls. We honor it by sparing the forest.
Joseph traced the path on the plan, a lane of packed earth and stone that would connect cabin and tree like a lifeline. As the frame rose, children carried stones for the path, and old men recalled winters of despair now replaced by this strange allegiance. The cabin's frame stood, but the tree's door remained open, a vow that no one would face the cold alone again. The new cabin rose beside the sentinel, its chimney echoing the tree's knothole smoke.
We built it with our hands, but the tree's lesson sealed it tight.
Every log we placed, we remembered the blizzard. No draft will ever steal our warmth again.
The tree, in full leaf, shaded the cabin like a giant's wing. Its open door breathed with the summer air.
The sentinels become our meeting ground. Traders tell its tale in every valley. You are famous, Joseph.
I heard children in the next settlement call this the marvel tree. They don't laugh at us now.
Inside the hollow, the hearth was kept alive, not for need, but as a welcome. The settlement shared meals in its curved walls.
Strangers come just to touch the bark. They say it feels warm even in the shade.
Joseph watched his family and neighbors gather, the hollow now a hall of memory. The shame had turned to legend.
We were called squirrels. Now, this tree shelters a community. It's not ours. It belongs to anyone who needs it.
A journalist arrived with a leather notebook, drawn by tales of a tree that saved a village. He asked how a hollow tree outlasted solid cabins in the deadliest winter in memory.
We didn't choose the tree. It chose us. It breathed when we couldn't, held heat when the world froze. My knowledge sealed the gaps, but the tree's life kept us. It's a guardian.
The reporter wrote, the nib scratching as the sentinel's leaves whispered overhead.
Tell them we were mocked as squirrels, but the tree outlasted every cabin.
The story would travel beyond the mountains, printed in papers far from this valley. Joseph's reflection became the headline, the sentinel, a living testament to resilience.
It's not the size of the fire, it's the stillness you keep. That's the lesson.
The article spread, and pilgrims came to touch the bark that had outlasted judgment. Winter returned, but it came to a different valley. The new cabin stood strong, built with the lesson of sealed air.
We don't fear the snow anymore. The sentinel taught us to be still and warm.
The tree's interior glowed, the same small hearth flickering. It was kept ready not for the family, but for any wanderer caught by the cold.
This winter, we have another reason to be grateful. A new child.
Mary held a newborn, wrapped in wool, against the curved wooden walls that had once sheltered them from a blizzard's rage.
We'll tell her the story of the sentinel when she's old enough. How a tree gave us a second chance.
Outside, the snow fell gently, but the tree's door remained open, a beacon of amber light and warm air.
We were mocked, but now the sentinel is the heart of the whole valley.
And in the cabin nearby, built with hands that once froze in the dark, new life cried its first breath.
The cycle continues. The tree lives, we live, and winter is nothing but a season now.
Years later, Joseph and Mary sat on a bench beneath the sentinel, their hair silvered by time. Spring had come again, and the tree's canopy sang with birdsong, its leaves unfurling like a slow prayer.
Look at them, Mary. Our grandchildren, playing where we once fought for every breath.
They only know this tree as a place of games. They'll never feel the cold we did.
Smoke still drifted from the knothole, a signal kept alive for travelers, a habit born of that long-ago terror.
The sentinel still breathes, and so do we.
The grandchildren built forts from fallen branches, never knowing the same tree had been their grandparents' fortress against death.
Someday, they'll understand. For now, let them laugh and climb. That's the gift.
The tree's roots had spread deep, but not as deep as its story. A legacy carved not in wood, but in the hearts of the valley. And Joseph, with his hand resting on the warm bark, knew that even after him, the sentinel would stand. The sentinel rose above the forest, its crown brushing the sky, a tower of green life that had seen centuries pass. From this height, the cabin and the village were mere specks, but the tree held them all in its shadow. The seasons would cycle, the people would age, but the sentinel stood as a monument to the winter they conquered. Travelers still pointed to the smoke rising from its knothole, a sign of the hearth that never truly went cold. And the story passed from mouth to mouth of a family called Squirrels, who found a fortress in a hollow giant. The small door, fitted with salvaged planks, had become a portal to hope. In the end, the secret was simple: still air, living wood, and a faith that outlasted the storm. Sometimes the thing everyone laughs at becomes the thing no one can live without. The Sentinel proved that, and it will stand.